Hi, I'm Kevin Carey, the chef at Verrill Farm. Today I'm going to be making asparagus puffs. I have some fresh picked asparagus cut from our fields this morning. I'm just going to slice them into 1/4-inch slices. You just want to leave the fibrous ends at the bottom, just discard them. And we're going to take our sliced asparagus and we're going to add it to some hot olive oil with a medium-high heat. And we're just going to saute them for a minute. And before I cut the asparagus, I took it and soaked it in some chilled water and we removed it from the top to allow this sandy sand that comes attached, because asparagus is grown in sandy soil and you want that sand to settle to the bottom, and I do that once or twice. And now that I've sauteed it for just a minute, I'm gonna bring out that brilliant green color. I'm gonna add some shallots, salt, pepper, some fresh thyme. Just give that a minute. This recipe makes about 24 2-bite pieces. And now I'm just going to add my white wine. That's going to deglaze any flavors and help steam the asparagus as well. Add a little acidity to it. At this point, I'm going to add in my heavy cream. Let that reduce a bit. And I want to reduce that cream by about half. Let it thicken a little bit. Okay, when that cream is just about reduced by half, I'm going to add in my Parmesan cheese. Just going to give it a toss. Just bring it back up to a simmer. I'm just going to remove it and add it to a shallow container where I need to thoroughly chill it in the refrigerator so I can wrap it in the puff pastry at this point. Okay, now I have my puff pastry sheet. I've defrosted in the refrigerator overnight. You can pick some up at the supermarket. Just buy it in the frozen section, leave it in the refrigerator overnight, then you can unfold it and it's ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them into 2.5-inch squares, and what I have is a wheel cutter that I can stretch to whatever size I want, and I'm going to take this and make 24 pieces. And I just score it with this, then I follow up with a knife afterwards, but you can just use a ruler or a yardstick and a little paring knife to make these squares just as easily. Just want to follow up with my paring knife, make sure it's cut all the way through. You can just, if you have a pizza wheel at home, pastry cutter, works just as well. Okay. Now we have some egg wash. It's 1 egg yolk to 1 whole egg. And I just want to brush the puff pastry. This is going to help bind it together and seal and stick. And I have my filling here that's thoroughly chilled. You don't want to work with a hot filling with the chilled puff pastry. It'll make it a lot harder to work with. You put about a teaspoon in the center of each one. Maybe a little more than a teaspoon. And I'm going to take the corner of one corner, and just lift it up. I'm going to put it in the palm of my hand or the heel of my hand, and I'm going to take 2 corners and pinch it together. And I'm going to bring the other 2 corners together and form somewhat of a pyramid. And when we bake this, the egg wash is going to seal as a glue and hold that together. I'm going to continue and fill the rest of these squares, and I'm going to go ahead and set them in the refrigerator to chill thoroughly for about ½ an hour, and then we can reshape them and then be ready to bake in the oven. All right, I have here my asparagus puffs. They're thoroughly chilled. I just want to make sure that they're chilled so they get nice and firm so we can shape them so they're nice and uniform. Sometimes if they get too warm as we're assembling them, they get misshapen, and when you chill them, they're easier to shape, so they look nice and uniform. And that's one of the things about hors d'oeuvres. If they have a nice uniform look to them, it makes them more appealing. Also, puff pastry bakes a lot better if it's chilled going into a hot oven. It's more likely to get the puff action between the layers of fat in the pastry sheets. It's going to puff up a lot better and brown. When I have these I have nice points to each one of these, and I pinched them so they're going to seal and not open up. Some will open up a little bit, it gives it a nice look. And I'm just going to brush the tops with a little more of that egg wash of egg yolk and a whole egg mixed. That's going to help give a little browning action to it as well as seal it on the outside. And right now I'm just ready to bake these in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes at 350. Okay, our asparagus puffs are all done. They've been baking in the oven for 25 minutes. You can see some of them have opened up, blossomed a little bit, but pretty much a nice uniform shape. Nice brown color on it. You can see a little bit of the asparagus. They stay nice and warm. And I'm just going to plate them up in a bed of spinach or greens. And there you have our asparagus puffs from Verrill Farm.